Today I'm going to show you 5 different ways to use up those beautiful zucchinis from your garden. So let's get started. Hey everyone, welcome back to Heartway Farms. I'm so glad you're here with me today. And it is that season again. We are already here. We're back into August and September, and that means harvest season. So that means we get to go out and collect these beautiful different fruits and veggies from our gardens and our orchards and find great favorite ways to use them. And today we're talking about all things zucchini. And the thing that I love about zucchini is that it's easy to grow and they grow big and huge, and a little zucchini goes a long way, which is an amazing opportunity. You can use it and put it away and store it in so many different ways. So today we're gonna cover 5 of those different ways, 5 of our favorite ways. Number 1, we're gonna freeze the zucchini. Every year when we harvest our zucchini from the garden, we like to chop and shred up several bags, as many as we can, of frozen zucchini. And it's so simple. And there's different perspectives on this, but all that we choose to do is chop off the top, and then it's that simple. We're just going to shred this up. That's our first step. Now, several of you are probably wondering why I didn't de-seed this zucchini. And here's the deal. These are smaller zucchinis. They were harvested while they were still young. If you have one of those giant zucchinis, you're gonna wanna cut it down the middle, de-seed it because those seeds are huge. These are so tiny, you're not even gonna notice them in your stews, your soups, or even in your breads. So I don't even have to go through the process of de-seeding this. Also, some people choose to blanch the zucchini. We skip that step and have never had an issue with it. The texture, the color, it just freezes beautifully. And then when it comes time and you want to make a loaf of zucchini bread, you just grab one of your Ziploc baggies out of the freezer, let it thaw, maybe take off some of the moisture, and then you're ready to use it. We use frozen zucchini in chili and in veggie soup. We put it in our red pasta sauce as a thickener, as well as with squash. And it's just a great way to add beautiful nutrition and texture into your soups, your stews, your pasta sauces, whatever you're using it for, and nobody even knows, right? Because zucchini just kind of takes on the flavor of whatever you're using it for. So it's a beautiful thing. But if you come here, Marie, you can come look close, you literally can't even find a separate seed in here really, unless you're really totally searching for it. But it's no big deal. And that's why I love doing it when they're small, if you harvest it. Again, if they're big and oversized, you're gonna wanna take a minute, slice it down the middle, de-seed it, and then shred it. But otherwise, you're ready to go. One step and that's easy and done. And this is about, I would say, 2 cups. So one small zucchini, I'm estimating, but is about 2 cups. My preference is to take one Ziploc bag, a small one, and fill it with this full amount so that I know, because my zucchini bread recipe calls for 2 cups, and when I'm putting zucchini into a stew or soup, or any of the things that we're doing, I can use 1 bag worth. It's already portioned out for me, so I don't have to worry about defrosting it, thawing it, separating it, causing this mess and all of this. It's just ready to go. So I can even take this out as a whole frozen chunk, put it in my pasta sauce as a frozen, frozen chunk of zucchini, and it will thaw, it will distribute, and it'll be delicious. So let's get this in the bag, we'll get it labeled and put it in the freezer. And it really is that simple. We're done. You can do this and get this bagged up and in the freezer in a matter of a few minutes. It's so easy. It's so simple. They freeze great because they lay flat. You can stack them up in the freezer and just go grab them whenever you want them during the winter. This is our favorite way to store zucchini long term. Zucchini relish is a close second, but this is nice because you can use it in so many different ways. You're not boxed into just the relish. So yeah, try this at home. It's easy, it's simple, and you can enjoy it all winter long. Number 2, we are gonna use up our zucchini by making a delicious zucchini raisin bread. Our first step in this process, we are going to shred up a zucchini. And if I had frozen zucchini from last year, I would simply go get it out of the freezer and let it thaw completely. And I'm not even gonna de-seed this zucchini because it's so small. Okay, so I shredded up one small zucchini. Remember, it was small, that's why I kept the seeds in. I'm gonna go ahead and transfer this zucchini to a plate here so I can have some room to work. And I'm just going to try to absorb up any extra liquid that might be hanging out in there, just because I'm making a bread and I don't want soggy bread, right? That's no good. Okay, so we pat dried any extra liquid that was hanging out within the zucchini. So I'm gonna take, it's around 2 cups of shredded zucchini. If you were getting it out of the freezer from your storage, I would definitely do the same thing. Make sure you get off any extra liquid, just because your bread will come together more nicely. Okay, so we've got the zucchini in there, and we're gonna go ahead and do our brown sugar. I will make sure that the recipe is down in the description for you too, so you can have all your right measurements. Okay, so the brown sugar, we're gonna go ahead and put our 2 eggs. Today I'm using duck eggs. Our avocado oil. Our homemade vanilla, so good. All right, I'm gonna let that kind of come together just a little bit. Get all those shredded zucchini coated with the egg and sugar. All right, perfect. Now we're gonna go ahead and do like our salt. We've got our Redmond's real salt, our baking soda, and our baking powder. I'm gonna go ahead and just sprinkle all that in. And next, our spices: cinnamon, nutmeg, allspice, ginger. Like, you can't go wrong with these things. Not only is it like a delicious zucchini bread, but it's also just the spices are amazing. So let's get these in there. Oh, I can smell it already. It smells so nice. All right, and so I don't make a mess here, I'm gonna go ahead and get our flour in there, and I'm gonna stop this for just a second. Okay, then we'll let that incorporate slowly so that we don't have a cloud of flour exploding. I'm gonna go ahead and scrape the edges to make sure all that flour gets in there. It smells so good, you guys. Okay. Last but not least, I'm gonna add in about half a cup of raisins. This is a flexible ingredient. You can omit this completely. You can put in chopped apples, that's also very good. And you can, like I said, just have plain old zucchini, put in chocolate chips if you want, whatever you want. But we're gonna use raisins today for our spiced zucchini raisin bread. Get that mixed in. All right, and it's that simple. And if there's any of those spices that I named off that you just don't like, you can absolutely skip that or put in a little bit more nutmeg if you really like nutmeg. The beautiful thing about this recipe is you can be flexible with the spices and make it as simple or as, you know, vibrant as you want it to be. All right, we're gonna transfer this to my greased loaf pan. And then we're gonna go ahead and get this baking in a preheated oven to 350 degrees Fahrenheit. I'm gonna bake it between 55 and 65 minutes once a toothpick or fork comes out clean from the middle. So let's get this in the oven. All right, the bread is done. I did leave it in for about 63 minutes, and I'm telling you, it smells and looks amazing and delicious. Beautiful texture. As soon as it cools off just a little bit, I'm gonna go ahead and put it onto a cutting board, cut it up, and serve it with some delicious butter or maybe some of Julianne's homemade apple butter. It will be fantastic. So try this out, you guys are gonna love it. All right, number 3, we are gonna make the most delicious seasoned zucchini chips. This recipe is so basic and so simple. You only need 3 ingredients and then either a dehydrator or your oven. So let's get started. So with your zucchini, and these chips can be as large or as small as you want depending on the size that you have and what you have available. And my favorite thing to do is to take the ridge slicer and cut it into ridge chips because then it has texture and it's really pretty. But if you don't have that, you can just slice these up thinly with a knife or with a food processor, whatever you have available. But I think it's fun to chop them up with the ridge slicer and just try to be as even as you can, as thin as you can without breaking the chips, right? And then I'm gonna go ahead and take the sliced zucchini, put it in a bowl. I'm gonna drizzle some avocado or olive oil over the top and toss it. And then this is the game changer. We're gonna use everything bagel seasoning. If you don't like this, then of course you can keep it simple with just a little bit of salt, pepper, garlic, whatever sounds good to you. But I love the everything seasoning. It's so delicious and it makes your house smell like an Italian restaurant while it's dehydrating. So we're gonna get these all chopped up. Inside of here, you have all of the different trays where you just carefully put your chips on there. You're gonna put it in, close it up, and then I'm gonna go ahead and dehydrate the chips at 125 degrees Fahrenheit, and I am just gonna let them go. I have let them go for up to 24 hours. You can check them as you go and decide how crispy you want them, and then make sure they're completely cool before you put them into any storage. If you are dehydrating your zucchini chips in the oven, some ovens only let you go as low as 200 or 170. Just take your oven as low as you can. I would recommend using a large baking pan or 2 so you can get as many done at once as possible. Line those pans with some parchment and let them go until you're happy with how crispy they are. All right, number 4, one of my favorite ways to enjoy zucchini is simply by eating it fresh when you have it available. They're super nutritious and delicious, and the best thing about zucchini is that it takes on whatever flavor you put into it. So let's say you like Asian flavors, then you can season your zucchini accordingly. Or if you just like good old simple salt and pepper, then this is perfect for that. And that's what we're gonna do today. So all I'm going to do is go ahead and take off the top there, and again, I have no problem keeping the seeds in because these are small zucchini. All right, can you see where I cut that, the moisture coming out? All right, so they're full of beautiful moisture. So I'm gonna go ahead and chop this up. This is a perfect side dish for any dinner because it takes minutes. And even if you don't wanna turn your oven on, you can saute this on the stovetop just the same, and it's no big deal. But today I'm gonna roast these up. I'm gonna go ahead and slice these into little cubes, like inch-sized cubes, give or take. It does help to try to slice them similar size when it comes to sizing. Make sure you have similar sizing because zucchini is no good once it crosses over to that mushy part. So we're gonna make these in nice big chunks, bite-sized chunks. Okay, take them over to our cast iron. And you can actually also throw in anything else that cooks quickly. Today I'm just gonna cook the zucchini by itself, but if you, for example, like red peppers, green peppers, mushrooms, things that cook very quickly, I would not put in like broccoli because the broccoli is gonna take longer to saute or to roast than the zucchini. This will take just a few minutes on the stovetop or in the oven. Today I'm just using a little bit of olive oil, and a lot of moisture is gonna cook out of your zucchini. So as little moisture as you can put into this pan, the better. Okay, we're gonna do some salt and pepper. And today I'm keeping it simple, but I'm gonna tell you, our favorite thing to do is at the very end, right before you serve it, just, you know, saute it or bake it, and then add some Parmesan on top. It's so good. All right, let's toss this. All right, and into the oven at like 425, 450 degrees for just a few minutes. You want it to be firm and not get mushy, so keep your eye on it and don't let it go for too long. All right, that took just a few minutes and the pan's still sizzling. And it smells amazing. Like I said, it'll take on whatever flavor you decide to put on there. So like if you want a little bit of spice, add in some crushed red pepper or some cayenne, and or Parmesan cheese on top. You can put teriyaki and make this a side dish when you're making Asian food at home. So anyway, it's delicious, smells amazing, it's hot as can be. But a perfect dish for any dinner. Number 5, we're gonna make our homemade zucchini relish. It is so delicious. So making homemade zucchini relish is one of our very favorite ways to kind of stock up on zucchini, have it down in the root cellar, have it available all winter, even going into next summer until the next batch of zucchinis come in. And it is a little bit of a process, but it's simple. You just have to follow basic instructions. And today we're gonna be canning our zucchini relish in our digital Presto canner. So I wanna show you that, and we'll touch on that later. We have to do a few things first. But this is a 2-day process, don't let that scare you. But yesterday I started the process so that I could share this part with all of you. So yesterday I went ahead and I got out my food processor and I wanted to process out at least about 12 cups of shredded zucchini. Because I'm using small zucchinis, I had no problem leaving the seeds in. But if you're using a large zucchini, you might wanna de-seed it first. Once the zucchini is done and all shredded up, I'm gonna transfer it into a large Dutch oven, something that I can set in the fridge overnight and then put on the stovetop tomorrow. All right, next I'm gonna remove my shredding attachment from my food processor and go ahead and use the pulse option and chop up 1 red sweet pepper and 1 green pepper. Once those are done, I'm gonna move on to the onions. You're gonna need about 6 cups of chopped onions. And yes, I'm cheating by using the food processor so I don't cry through this whole process. Once everything is all chopped up and added to my big red pot, I'm gonna put in 5 tablespoons of salt and then go ahead and cover all of the shredded veggies with some water. We're gonna give this a good mix, cover it up and put it in the fridge overnight. This helps prepare the zucchini and other items to kind of release some of the liquid overnight and prepare it for the canning process tomorrow. So my pot with all this goodness has been sitting in the fridge since yesterday, and now it's ready to strain. So I'm gonna take it over to the sink, strain out the liquid, rinse it off, press out some of that liquid, and then head over to the stovetop for the next step. Okay, so we strained out the salty water rinsed our veggies with cold water and pressed out any excess liquid. It just helps with the process, okay? So this is all, I mean, I'm not trying to be a perfectionist at it. There's still probably a little bit of water, but it looks much drier, obviously, than it did. Okay, so now we're back on the stovetop in my same pot, and we're gonna add in 2.5 cups of apple cider vinegar. You can use white vinegar if that's all that you have, it's fine. And we're also gonna get our temperature on low here, heat on. Next, we're gonna add in 6 cups of sugar. We're making a big batch, so don't be scared of the 6 cups. I'm gonna mix this just a little bit. We are using organic cane sugar for today. This is still sugar, but thankfully when you're using Relish, you're not usually using very much. Okay, now we're gonna add in a whole mix of different fun spices like ground mustard, ground nutmeg, turmeric, celery seed, black pepper. We're gonna get all of these goodies in here. I'll make sure and link the full recipe below. Okay. Last but not least, I'm gonna add in a couple tablespoons of cornstarch as a nice thickener. I'm gonna get this mixed in, incorporated really well, and let this simmer like on a low boil on the stovetop for 30 minutes. All right, oh my goodness, the smell in my house is so nice and vinegary. It's so good. Okay, so this is ready to be placed into our sanitized jars. We're gonna be canning this up in 1/2 pint jars because I like that when we open a jar that we don't let any of this go bad. And Relish is something that you use as a condiment, so you go through it kind of slowly. So we're just gonna do it in 1/2 pints because that's my favorite. All right, and this is ready. We've got our jars ready to go, clean and ready to go. We've got our 4 jars lids ready to go and our rings. We're gonna set this aside over here and we're gonna start filling. Okay, so that filled up 13 jars and it just looks beautiful. I'm gonna grab a spoon and even a couple of them out, then I'm gonna lid them and finger tighten down the rings and then get them placed in my Presto digital canner on water bath for 15 minutes. Okay, all of our zucchini relish is canned up. I was able to get it done in 2 rounds in the Presto canner because I had 13 jars and it looks beautiful. I'm super happy with it. Everything's sealed up very nicely with our 4 jars lids. I'm gonna go ahead and remove all of my rings and put these into long-term storage down in the root cellar. And also you have to give it away as a gift or give it to friends, and we sell it in the farm shop, different things like that. So this is ready to go for the year, which is awesome. So I hope you guys try out some of these different ways, some of our favorite ways to put up zucchini every year. But now I want to hear from you. What do you love about zucchini? How do you prepare it? How do you put it up? Share with me some of your favorite ways. And also check out the links below for any of the full recipes, as well as if you want to join our free Heartway community. Check out the links below, and we appreciate y'all, and we'll see you soon.